What's up, guys? My name's Chris,
My name's Dave.
Hi, I'm Matt.
and we are the Original Sin, and you are checking out the Three Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And with this being season 6 and our 400 and something episode, I would just hope you would say it with me. I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently. You can't. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring? You can find these gentlemen up and down the East Coast. You find them at BWA. You can find them at NWWE. You can find them at SNW. You can find them all over the place. They travel because they can, and you can't. That's just what they do. But three of these gentlemen all together, they are known as the Original Sin.
Yes, sir.
What's up, fellas?
It's
How's it
happening.
going?
Oh, not much. Just having fun. We were talking about a lot of stuff before we decided to go pop on and do this. And so I'm still like cheesing out because of this stupid story that we will include you guys on too. You guys will hear about it, but it's not about me. It's more about y'all. So why don't you guys go ahead, introduce yourselves to everybody here so that they can get to know you guys a little bit.
All right. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Chris Dozer, and I am the Unbalanced Messiah. That guy there in the green is Brutus Sane. He is the current RICW Universal Champion. Say hi, Brutus.
Hi.
I was like, that's going great with our audio listeners.
Right.
I know. I'm very theatrical.
Boss number one. It's okay. Hey, Matt, say hi.
Hello, for those of you who don't know me, I am the Appalachian assassin, Matt Deadwood.
I like it. I like it. So I usually start this off by asking, like what brought you into the business?
Oh,
Like
boy.
not necessarily like
Wow.
what got you, because everybody is a big fan of like, we all know the stories. Like we're all like, his mom got us involved, grandma got us involved. We were watching wrestling as a kid. We became fans. You hear that story a lot. Not that I would say that's not what your guys' story is, but what made you guys want to get into the business though?
I'll start the. So, for me, I've always wanted to, and I waited until I was like 23, roughly. Um, and I heard through the grapevine that my friends down in Rhode Island were going through wrestling training at this factory in Central Falls, and that thing was scary because it was like um, a murder house, like a horror story. When you walk the 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 gate to walk in is like a meat packing plant. But as the further you get into it, it's a furniture production place, and the veneer and all the, like the wood finishes. What's in we're breathing that shit in, and we walk into this tiny ass room, and there's a wrestling ring. It was a converted uh, boxing ring, 14 by 14, and that's uh, where I took my first bump. And I ended up hooking up with a couple friends friends, and we started our own promotion. Uh, it was ill advised. Uh, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, um, but we put on a successful show. There's only one show in that company's history. So I don't know. That's
All right.
how my journey sort of started.
I
So
gotcha.
go ahead, Dave.
When I was younger, like you said, my grandfather got me into it. I had the old VHS tapes. You had the Killer Kangaroos versus the Sheep Herders, going way back,
Oh, such
40s,
great.
50s, 60s.
Yep.
I first started in Chicopee, Mass. At Kevin Landry's Pro Wrestling Combine in 2007, I believe. After I probably only did it for about 3 or 4 months before I had to move and had to stop. I was fresh out of high school, like I was greener than what comes out of a baby, and I remember it was on the 5th floor. There was no elevator, tiny little
Yep.
room. All the walls were white except for red lettering on it where it said again, dot, 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 again, dot, 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 again, dot, 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 again on every single wall. And for the first, months, all you're doing is bumping kind of thing, learning bumping. Had a, I remember meeting a lot of good indie faces around there. Antonio the Thomas Promise, Furio Falcone. I think he was known as Chris Camaro at the time.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. A bunch of others, great people through there, and then I started going to Rhode Island. Eventually, I met Dozer after going down there for a few years, and
Yep.
Matt from New Hampshire came down. So all three of us live in 3 different states now in New England, but we're all one collective, if you will. Um,
Isn't that like crazy?
yeah.
I remember
Oh,
Yeah.
watching Brutus wrestle like his first couple of matches and saying, "Hey, I want to work that guy." We only got to work once together, so we're trying
that
to
was
make the
like
most of this.
15 years ago for Pat Dillon's UFO
Yep.
promotion, and that was out in the Boston College of Arts, I believe.
Yep.
Couple bigger names there: Joseph von Schmidt, John Doomsday Howard, UFC fighter, was there. Nice guy.
Yep.
Um,
Tommaso Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa was there. A couple local guys: Devil's Reject, Brandon Webb, Jason Rumble, Tony Rumble's son. It was a good show. The crowd wasn't as packed as we were hoping, but definitely the biggest company I ever had the privilege of working on at the time. So that was good. Matt, what about you? How'd you start, big guy?
Well, very similar. I used to stay up late watching it with my grandfather. Um, Used to smash the action figures together while I was watching the match, trying to recreate it. Um, and then fast forward to me and my fiance at the time. We're driving around Manchester, and we saw a poster for an indie show. And she goes, "Oh, hey, my sister's working that show. We should go check it out." So we went there that night, and the whole show, I'm like, I've always wanted to do this. I think I can do this. I'm gonna talk to her to get me like a tryout or something. And yeah, that company ended up being my home promotion for the first 5 years in my career.
Yep.
Nice. It's funny too because this show like itself, right? I started in Maryland. That's where I got trained.
Yep.
And the other guy that runs the show with me too, Chaz. on Chaz and Friends. So you guys can check that out. Actually, we're on hiatus when you guys see this interview, so you know, wait till we come back before the Rumble. Anyway, so
Fair
Chaz
enough.
and I, like we actually met in the dark arts is where we met, and so then we both decided that we wanted to go jump, and then so now this show actually runs out of 5 different states. So you talk about different states. So we Chaz is out of Maryland. I'm up in Massachusetts. Our other friend Damien is actually out of Utah, and then we have another friend named Anthony who's out of Denver, Colorado, and then our other person Twitch who is out of Florida. But Damien, Chaz, myself, Damien, Chaz, and Twitch all worked in the dark arts together before 2 of us decided to jump and go pro. And our other boy was like, "Hey, I think I want to get into pro wrestling," but he never did. So
Yep.
it was just funny to see that. But now, like, it's so weird how technology can keep us all together like super close, and then like the ability to have communications, and we don't have to have star 7-1 or whatever it was that used to make us have 3-way calls, star six
Yep.
Oh,
nine I
party
think.
chat. Yeah.
Star six
Yeah,
nine.
the party chat, like we don't have to worry about that anymore. It's just simple,
God,
like we could just have a communicate, just have comms. It's a lot of fun, man. And it's cool to see how wrestling brings people together, and then how you're able to kind of like mesh that all together. So
it really
how
is when you're first like breaking in a collective effort. So, like in Brutus's case, um, he and I were working the same promotion, and it was like ships passing in the night, but we never had this chance to connect on that level. And once we we actually did, like the chemistry was already there. It's amazing once you break into the wrestling business. Excuse me. Um, how much you rely on others around you to help guide you.
Yeah, I think that's important too, is having a good mentors around. Like I had a pretty awesome trainer who then got me a couple of awesome mentors, and then some people I still talk to today. Then you develop it as you grow in the business, like having those good mentors.
Right.
Like my trainer's trainer is one of the most badass people ever in the history of wrestling, and I don't say that with with any caution, because anybody who knows Ruckus knows how bad that man is. And so being able to get to work him, and then also train under him and like pick his brain, and then also my trainer who's sickin' out of Maryland, it was crazy to like just be in the same ring as a guy that I used to play PlayStation 2's backyard wrestling, and just know like he
Yep.
was a star. Like I am wrestling the guy I played on video games. I was like, this is insane to me.
It's like a pinch yourself moment. Like holy shit. Like this is what we're doing, and
Yep.
we're doing it. Like it's crazy to try and put into words what wrestling has brought to me.
Yep. What about you, Bruno?
I got. There's been a few moments where it's been like my childhood kind of came full circle. I did security for Millennium Wrestling Federation out in, I think it was Everett, Mass. They were doing a few shows out there, and I was helping out. I had a promoter at the time and a booker, manager, Anthony Boyd. Nice guy, and hope he's doing well. But he would get me little odd jobs here, helping with security for them, and I think it was Big Time Wrestling was another one.
Yep.
And there was a feud going on between two managers, one of which Johnny Fabulous, John Cena Sr., and the other one, Percy Pringle, Paul Bearer. Rest in peace. And Paul was honestly one of the nicest guys I could ever have met. And I remember gravitating towards him and hanging out with him, just doing security work. But they were getting into brawls, at certain shows, and I'd have to try and pull them back and everything like that. And he was working with Dylan Cage at the time, so another big indie guy at the time, and he was teaming with Abyss. And growing up, Kane and Jake the Snake Roberts were two of my guys. Throwing Mick Foley there, and you've got Brutus Sane, if you will. And then I saw Abyss, and Abyss was like this new generation kind of thing. And it was simplistic, but the guy worked, and they did things. I remember when I finally started gravitating away from WWE, and I found like Dragon Gate USA and everything like that. And it was just, the innovation was amazing. And it just opened my mind to everything that was new. But
Yeah.
I remember meeting Abyss, and I was like, I used to watch you. You were like the first person that I actually had caught my eye outside of anything on TV, like major promotion wise. And I remember I joined like the street team, and TNA at the time was sending me like the big posters, and I had a street team badge, and I had stickers and bumpers. Like, they sent me so much, I don't want to say merch, but street team. So I was papering everything up here, even though they were down in Florida or Nashville at the time, in Tennessee, I think it was.
Yep.
I was papering it all over Massachusetts for them, just because it's who it's who I watched and who came to me, and then I got to meet them just doing this. So I never really got to wrestle any. Well, okay, there was one person. I wrestled Doink the Clown. And he was, I don't, it wasn't Matt Bourne. I think Matt Bourne had passed away by that time. So it was one of them that was on TV, and I feel bad for not remembering who. But it was for a little promotion, Grand Pro Wrestling, out of Boston, Mass. And I worked with him. That was probably one of the bigger names, and again, it was a wonderful experience. It was very entertaining. So that was probably one of mine.
Go on, Matt. What you got?
What was the question again?
Nah, it's just we just reminiscing about stories. That's all.
Yeah. The first name I ever met was Sabu, and I was so scared to even shake his hand. I just went to the other side of the locker room and hid. And he was just the nicest guy to everybody else. I was just so nervous. Jeannie was with him too. So I said to myself, the next time I meet a name, I'm going to introduce myself and at least talk to them, say hello. And that was Tatanka. I worked security for him at Maine Premier Wrestling. And in between autograph signings, he was talking to me for like 25 minutes. So I just picked his brain the whole time.
Nice. I remember like the first like outside of like Ruckus, the first name like I had actually met was actually Sandman, and I have this friend. He lives down in Maryland. His name's Ron Holiday. If you guys ever get the chance to meet this dude, you'll have an impression of him instantly. Like you'll leave the conversation like just talking like him. And so Ron, I'll never forget, he's like, "Hey buddy, what's you gotta tell Sandman what's your name?" And I was like, yeah, they call me Red Dog. And he's like, "Why?" I was like, "My first name's Clifford." He's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Let me tell you about Clifford the Big Red Dog." He's like, "I have grandkids." And so like it was just funny, like getting to like chat with Sandman about it, and like we talked for a little bit, and then it was just so funny. But my boy just throwing me out there into the ocean was like,
The
"Hey,
wolves. Yeah.
swim in the deep, bro." Yeah. So I had to answer up, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy that I'm having a full conversation with this man." And then a few years later, I met Tony Schiavone, and I
Ooh.
introduced my daughter to Tony, and I was like, you know how like because my daughter had just gotten into wrestling, I was like, you remember Michael Cole, like how you hear his voice every Monday night on TV, and she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's Tony Schiavone to me when I was your age.
Yep.
She was like, really? And then he was like, it's nice to meet you, sir. And I was like, no, it is a pleasure to get to meet you, man. And like I was gushing out, bro. I was so like in like my zone. I was like, this is the greatest moment of my entire life.
Right.
So I gotta ask though, like, you guys like Brodus, you mentioned this, like your character is kind of like a mix between like Kane and Abyss, a lot of like the entities. Like, how did you come up with the character, and then how did you guys come up with the faction?
Mm.
Well, 2009, pre 2009, I was doing a character called Anarchy, and that was kind of like where a lot of us started was backyard days. And Anarchy was like the B-rated or D-rated version of Abyss. I had the psycho mask, and I had like the death row inmate shirt, and now it's forgotten, long dead. Anywho, um, I was like, okay, well, now that I'm actually attending trainings and I'm meeting people and people want me to go work for them, I need something more substantial, obviously. And I was like, okay, well, I know at the time I was not athletic, not that I am now, but I was like, all right, I want to focus on my strengths and hide my weaknesses. So I'm going to go very, very character development heavy and try and come up with something that would catch people's eyes without having to do a lot actually in a match kind of thing. Be very characteristic. And I loved Jake the Snake Roberts. I loved how he could just stare into that camera and stare into your soul and talk to you and make you feel like he was talking directly at you. And I wanted to be able to do that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to come up with Brutus Sane. And I remember I was looking around and I had like a picture. It was my first dog, and it was this giant black lab, and his name was Brutus. And it was actually my first word I've ever said was his name when I was a baby. And then I was like, all right, well, what am I trying to be? Well, I'm going to be insane. And I was like, let's, we're the opposite of what we want to be. So I came up with Brutus Sane. Growing up, one of my favorite video games was Resident Evil. In Japan, it's called Biohazard. And my shtick was I went around and I infected faces with the Sane serum and turned them for a show or two heal. And I'd get contacts for them, and I'd, gunk up their face and everything. Like, they still wore all their normal ring gear, but I made them contaminated. So I had like minions and everything like that. And eventually over time it evolved to kind of a Fallout-esque kind of gimmick, to where I created my own riot weapon like you would see in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and I've got little hints and tricks and whatnot here and there. I hail from Vault 169 of the Commonwealth. I fell in love with Fallout 3 back when I was, I think, a freshman in high school, so 2001. And that just kind of played into the character and the gimmick. But I wanted to be very, very psychological and character heavy. I think the crowd feeds on that a lot more than the action, and I also wanted to try and save my body a little bit because it's been through the ringer.
Yeah.
So I like, as you can tell, I like the atmospheric sense of it. That's always caught my eye. So
Pat. Who's next?
I'll go
Go on.
next. It's okay. So my character isn't necessarily a character. It's me turned up to like a 12. I pride myself on saying the things no one else will say. As I look at myself as the one true purveyor of truth in reality, and my whole gimmick is my ugly truth is now your reality, and my reality can be whatever I want it to be. I mold everything around my reality. Everything bends to my reality. It all correlates with me. It all comes back to me. And the influences that I have over people. I've always been gifted with the ability to cut good promos. They used to call me one take Jake all the time because I would hit it the first time. They wouldn't need a second take. And I hated doing takes after take after take. It takes the venom out of your words. It takes the meaning of what you're saying out of context. And then you lose all purpose for what you're saying. And at that point, you're lost. So for me, the unbalanced Messiah character is me. It's straight me. If you talk to me one on one for 15 minutes, you'll understand it because I have this really weird personality. I love dark humor. I think it's the best humor in the world is when we can laugh at the things that hurt us the most. And I wrestled for close to 20 years. I'm 42 now. Last year, I ended up suffering a massive stroke and lots of health issues after that, and it forced me to retire. So I can't bump anymore. I can't wrestle anymore. But what I can do is talk. And that's what I'm here to do, is to spread the good word of original sin.
What you got, Matt?
Well, so I got a little funny story. When I was trying to develop my character, I took my favorite wrestlers and my favorite like horror movie villains, and I started writing notes down to try to figure out how could I mix this with who I am. And I'm very outdoorsy, hiking, camping all the time, and I love the Wrong Turn. I would say trilogy at the time, but there's like 8 of them now. But the
We don't mention
original 3
the other
Wrong
5.
Turn movies. So I started looking into like Appalachian lore and just taking everything I could. And at the time, my favorite wrestlers were Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose. And I started mixing like names I could come up with that worked for me. And in real life, my initials are MD, and I share those initials with my dad and my daughter. So I wanted my character to also have the initials MD, but my first name was Mountain Man Matt. Nobody could get it right. I got Matt Man, Mountain Matt Man, like just a mix of everything. And I was like, all right, let's cut it just Mountain Man, Matt Deadwood, and just different variations over the years. And yeah, still do that, switch it up, start mixing in some like Otis Driftwood when I want to be really heel and different things.
I like that though. That ideas come from like different sources, right? Like we pull from like wrestling, or we pull from like media, we find like something new to add everything. You bro, you kind of said this like with Jake, especially because Jake had these like quips and these things that he could say and the way that he said them. And you come to find out that he pulled a lot of his stuff from like 60s and 70s folk music. And like he talks about it all the time. I'm like, it's interesting because he's always like, yeah, it's just like this one lyric I pulled from this one song one time. And it's so cool to hear, like, especially when you get it from media. I know for like me, when I was trying to develop my character in the way that I wanted to do things, I was like, man, I was like, I just want to be like, I just want to be me, crank it up to 100. But I was like, I want to find like one or two things that I want to like push out that makes it feel more genuine. And so for me, also dark humor is something that I love doing. So I was like, yo, what would be so funny if I just like did like the you know the Deadpool thing and just broke the fourth wall and just talked to people at home and then just like proceeded to just like ask other people from other networks on someone else's network to promote my stuff. And so like lately, I don't know if you guys saw or not, but I've been like walking to the camera and I'll be like, yo, Jerry, the guy that owns IWTV, I think it's time to bring my podcast on your network. How do we get this accomplished? You can find me on YouTube right now. Like, so I
Here's my
kind of want to
resume.
see like how far I can take this
Hey,
and just
Jeff
like,
Bezos, put me on Amazon Prime.
yeah, I'm like, yo, Jeff, we're cool, right? Like, I won't tell no one you're on the I won't tell anybody you're on the files, man. Just put me on Amazon. Like,
You know he's on the
just,
gas. Come on now.
just trying to find like all like the most ridiculous things I can do. And just like
Absolutely.
shout it out. Cause I mean, what's worst case scenario? What's worst case? No one watches what I'm gonna do. All right, whatever. I still get to do what I want. But I started watching a lot of like Ryan Reynolds stuff. And then eventually like my character kind of started morphing into more of like a love letter to Ryan Reynolds because like I do like the Deadpool thing and then I'll dress in all black. So that's actually Blade Trinity. Every once in a while I'll pop around to like like khaki shorts and like a button like a button up polo, and that's from waiting because I was like, I'm not gonna wear khakis. That doesn't make it work. But I'm like, yo, I just think about all the things that like all these different fun characters I can do, and then just talking to the camera and like just having new ways of like getting hit. Like I remember one time I took like a power slam and I like rolled over and I saw that the roaming camera just had me right there and I was just like, guys, this isn't fun. Don't do this. Be smart. And then just get picked on. I'm like, I was like, all of this is just too much fun to do. And it's fun to pull from different characters and like enjoy like how you want to present your character to it.
I know I started enjoying myself a lot more when I stopped being so guarded and caring what people thought and just started marching to the beat of my own beating my own drum, and doing things my way instead of doing things the way I was taught to do them, which necessarily doesn't bring you success. Usually means failure in a lot of places because people don't want to see control to you.
Yeah.
But um, when I found that I was in control of my creative, the best parts of me came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always. I think that's one thing that a lot of people forget is that like you can when you when you're just naturally you, like
Mm-hmm.
everything like people can sense genuality and like when
Yeah.
you're not
Exactly.
being genuine, that's when people see right through you. I remember like I was trying to do like because I was former military and like getting in, I was like trying to figure out like my way of doing things and my trainer, which by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed not, but your trainer doesn't make your character, you do. And I didn't
Right.
know that. I thought your character I thought your I thought your trainer just gave you a character and that's what you were supposed to work with. And
You
so
want to
like
hear a
I was like,
bad
oh,
character? My
yeah, go
first
ahead.
gimmick was Chris Hold'em. That was the worst gimmick. Like I was supposed to be a card player turned wrestler, and it was like, how does
Big
it
Slick.
translate? Shut up. It was the worst character, and it felt like I was playing a character.
Yeah.
I was trying to pretend to be something I'm not.
You were forcing it basically, and it wasn't
Oh,
comfortable
absolutely.
for you.
Yeah. I had that same problem when I first started. So they wanted, like, Red Dog was always gonna be the name that was never gonna change. But how it was like pitched to me was like, hey, you could be like the stoic, like hardcore, like driven, always have a plan, military dude. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And I started trying. And I was like, yeah, this isn't me. And a bunch of my friends were all like, yeah, we can see right through this. I mean, we can see you're literally thinking about this the whole time. Like, just just go do you. And so I was
Yeah.
like, all right, let me start cutting these promos differently and stuff like that. My trainer was like, it's getting over. I was like, it sucks. It's like, we need something different.
It'll
And
get
he's
over
like,
next to nowhere.
yeah. I was like, I'm
And I
finishing the
feel like
last.
there's different levels too. Um, Matt and I just did a show for Truly Independent Wrestling up in North Adams, Massachusetts. Great company. Highly recommend. Had a lot of fun there. And we were heels, bad guys, and everything like that. And they paired us. We were just before the main. Um, number one contender needed somebody to go against. Gentleman had gotten ill and wasn't there. And they're like, well, let's team him with Santa Claus and put him against Deadwood and Brutus. And there's kids there. It's Christmas time. It's a family show. There's probably 40 kids, 30, 40 kids at least. So we're getting booed. And I was like, okay, well, obviously we're not going to go full psychotic at this show. So I want to have fun. And I personally love being that kind of a heel that can put the face over, in this case, a mythological being, Santa, and
Wait, they're
have
not
the
real?
entire crowd eat that up
What?
with one, just your facial expressions, and two, how you act. And Matt and I, we were selling to the kids. And, oh, Santa's going to have an accident. And there was this big reveal, and the kids were eating it up. I made a few cry. Like, how do you think Santa's going to sit here when we're going to destroy his sleigh when we get backstage? Obviously, they went over on us. Santa chokeslammed the out of me. I was actually very proud of that one. But I had fun. It was a different level of heel. And I feel more, and Dozer and Matt can tell you, I feel more comfortable doing the comedy stuff at times,
Mm-hmm.
both heel and face, because that's what's natural to me. If people enjoy it, you're selling something. Whether it's good or
Yeah.
bad, you're still selling something.
Right.
And whether you're heel or face, I swear to God, I felt like I was taking the heat in that match when Santa was coming after me. That's literally what it felt like. It was amazing. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. So yeah, no, I did
It's
100%.
so freeing being able to do that, right?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
everywhere we go, we want to be taken as a serious threat if we're heels, or we're only taken seriously as faces, right? As a force. But there's so much more wrestling than that, than this being this really mean bad guy.
Yeah.
If you can be this bad guy that isn't afraid to show a little ass and to get the fans to laugh at your misfortune, that's gold.
Yeah. 100%.
And they'll talk about you more than other people that might
I
not
mean, the match
talk about.
following us could be this 5-star classic, and we're still the talk of the show because we played to the comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's the important part too. Is like we just had. I was at a show for NWWE in Massachusetts, and they had like a youth football team, baseball team. Like I think it was like a hockey club was there. There was a bunch of kids, and I remember like they said it to me, and I remember registering that, like, okay, there's kids here, and I wasn't expecting like kids to be like immediately when I walked out the curtain. So like when you see it back on the video, like I popped through and they just you see me do a quick glance. I see all these kids. Finally, I just ripped my mask down, and I was like, "Who let these orphans in here?" And then, like, they just proceeded to like destroy, like they just talk trash, and obviously like we're all there for fun, right? Like it's gonna be.
Right.
But I remember like one kid was like, he said something about he's like, "You're gonna lose." I was like, "Shut up! No one cares what you have to say. You have to be at least this tall to have a conversation with me." And then like keep walking through, and I love like getting whether it's face or heel. I really don't mind, but I love getting kids like involved with the show because I know like if I can get them involved, everybody else in that section is gonna get them involved too. And
Right.
I remember this one kid. He said something to me and I was like, "Yo, is that your parents right there?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Bro, if I was your parents, I'd ground myself." And like kept walking. Then I heard another kid go, "Well, my parents aren't here." I was like, "Must be sad to know that when you take a selfie of yourself, it's really a family photo." And just walked off.
Oh, so
Like,
good.
I
So good.
was just I was just looking for, but then what made it so funny was like at intermission, I'm just sitting there selling merch. I've moved. I didn't know I was gonna move so much merch. All these kids that I was just like making fun of and having conversations with, just all of them. Yo, we want to get a photo. Can we get a picture with you? Can I get this? Can I get that? I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was like just selling merch left and right, and it was just so funny to see all these kids just like around constantly, like want to have conversation. We like Red Dog. Like, why? I was like, I don't like y'all. I was like, just give me your money and go away.
Exactly. That's that, that stuff is like it carries so much weight with the fans and the audience. It's I used to love doing birthday shows for that very reason, that crowd interaction aspect,
Yeah.
because the kids are all into it, like deep into it. I don't even have to scratch the surface on that to start hitting nerves and getting feedback. So I would literally walk up to the birthday boy, ask what the birthday boy was, go for a high five, pull my hand away, and say, "I'm going to eat your cake later," and then roll into the ring. Then proceed to get my ass kicked, and then roll out to that kid as I'm selling, and he's yelling at me and screaming at my face, "I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!" I said, "Yep, I hate you too. I hate you too." I said, "Your birthday, you were adopted. Your parents don't even love you."
See,
It's those interactions you have with those kids that hooks them for life. They're
Oh
instantly
yeah.
fans for life.
We were sitting here telling the kids, like, I think those 8 tiny reindeers are going to meet our pickup trucks on the way home when we leave here tonight, you know. So all the kids, is there going to be a Christmas? Is there going to be a Christmas? Parents are coming up to us afterwards. We hope you come back. Oh, we hope
Christmas
we'll
is
come back
canceled
too.
due to lack of hustle.
when I first started, I was afraid to do stuff like that and like work the crowd. And I have two daughters, they come to almost every show. So I would use them to yell at a kid and then
Mm-hmm.
be like, okay, I got my heat. Now I'm going to go in the ring. Now I'll go out there and tell every single kid they're getting coal in their stock for Christmas and
Yep.
stick my tongue out or do the 6-7 thing now.
Oh God.
I'll go for a high five. Be like, you want a high five? Uh,
Like, what's wrong with you, kid? You didn't know, huh? That's why you're doing this thing. You don't know anything. Like,
I mean, Dave can attest to this.
yeah.
Back when we first we used to run out of this place in North Providence and Smith Street. It was an old boxing academy, and we used to have shows there all the time. And we used to bus kids in. And this one kid had a slushy in her hand. She's drinking it, yada yada yada. And she's yelling at me and whatnot, and she wants to throw the slushy at me. I'm like, whatever. I go to like play slap her, and I hit the straw out of her hand, and it fell out of the drink. So she threw the drink at me. So I went, picked the drink up, opened the drink up, took a sip of it, spit it out, and then dumped it over her head.
It was on that same bus too, because we used to get a good group of kids, but it was on the
Oh
same
yeah.
bus too. It was a whole family. It was a mom and then like 4 or 5 kids. But one of the boys pulled a knife on me, and he was like 8 or 9 years old, I think, something like that. And mom yelled at him and everything. I scared him that bad. But they've been coming to the shows. They know who I am and everything like that. But yeah, they used to use me to do kind of like scared straight tactics if they weren't listening, because they were from the Boys and Girls Club. So they're like, "Do we got to get Brutus up on this bus? Because we'll go get him." And I used to stand in the parking lot, still in gear, just looking at the buses basically, and they're like, "No,
Yep.
we're okay."
We're good. It's
It was
funny
just it
though,
was
'cause,
the
like,
smallest town in the smallest state, their little Boys and Girls Club, and eventually I ended up turning face, and to do that I had to play as Santa Claus.
mm,
And then I think like a week after, that same kid on his social media was him wearing a biohazard mask.
nice.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I
"Guy, you're something else, man." 2 weeks
remember
ago
when I was
you
in.
sit here and you like were pulling out a knife on me kind of thing.
Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
It's crazy, yes. I remember I was in Pennsylvania one time and, I was working this dude and, like, I was losing, so I, like one of the things I like to do as a face is, like, if I find, like, the kid that's, like, sitting around the ring, I'll reach out and I'll be like, "Yo, tag me in, bro, like, I need your help," and, like, there's this little girl in the crowd I'll never forget, and I reached out for her to tag, and she was like, "No," and she, like, curled up in a ball, and, like, I end up going over anyway, and so at intermission, I'm just chilling, and, this little girl runs up and gives you this hug and just starts crying instantly, right? And at the same time, my daughter's about the same age, so, like, wrestler mode turns off and dad mode
Mm-hmm.
turns on, and I'm like
Yes, that's
and I
happened
was
a
like
few times.
right, so I'm like, "Yo, is everything okay? Is everything fine? Like, where's your parents at?" Right? Because I'm thinking this kid's alone, I don't know what's happening, and then her dad comes up to me and was like, "I have never seen her hug a stranger before or this." And I was like, "Oh." And then turn on the mode back on. I was like, "Hey, well, we won. What's the problem?" She's like, "I was so scared. I wanted to help, but I was like, he's beating him up. He's gonna beat me up too." I was like, "Hey, this works." I was like, "I love this."
Oh yeah.
I was like, "It's fine. We got the job done."
The
Yep.
hook's in. We got them set.
Yep.
Let's
And
reel
I
them
was
in.
like, "This is good." I was like, "This is good
Yep.
stuff right here."
Absolutely. It's some of the most fun I've ever had as a professional wrestler is working with the children
Yeah.
and just seeing them let up as soon as we hit the curtain. It was that's type that you can inject that into my veins. I can live off that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's just
100%.
like so powerful.
So, let me ask all of y'all, what's the worst bump you guys have taken?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Worst bump I ever took was a Frankensteiner from the top rope to the floor, and I didn't
Yeah.
rotate enough. I am tombstone spiking myself off of the cement floor.
Mm.
I had no idea how I didn't break my neck. It was that nasty of a bump. I had concussion out of it. It was the worst bump I ever took in my life. Never again. I can't recommend not bumping the floor enough to save your life. Save your back. You don't need to bump on the floor for people.
Nope. No, that's a good lesson to have. What about the rest of y'all?
what you got, Matt?
It's a tie between the time I spiked myself on a monkey flip or when I tore the AC joint of my rotator cuff on a jumping neck breaker. I under rotated, landed on my shoulder, and just pushed up.
That's my
Mm.
second worst bump. Was I took a dragon suplex and I over rotated to the right instead of just going straight over. I over rotated to the right. That's the way I was thrown. Um, I couldn't protect myself when I landed. I landed right in all my full 250 pounds was landed directly on my right shoulder. I heard a pop. I rolled the buckle. The next spot was the shotgun drop kick in the buckle, and I couldn't even sit up for that because like my collarbone was touching my ear at that point.
Mm.
And I go to the hospital after the fact because I can't. They thought I dislocated my shoulder, but it wasn't my shoulder that dislocated. It was my collarbone. The AC joint had completely shredded,
Dope.
and I'm laying in there. My shoulder's on fire. I'm laying in the ER, and they tell me, well, usually we see grade 1, 2, or 3 sprains of the AC joint. This is a grade 5, almost a grade 6, which is akin to a car accident or or if you're driving a motorcycle, you dumping a bike and you're landing on your shoulder at
Mm.
speed. Okay, so and they said we recommend you never wrestle again after this, which I did. Um, but the AC joint, as Matt can attest, it's like someone's taking a red hot poker and poking you in the collarbone. It hurts like a bastard. The next day, I had to go to work. I'm in a sling, and I had to use both hands at work. I had took the sling off, put it in the car, work for 12 hours, go back in my car, put the sling back on, drive home, and then repeat the process again and again and again and again, and then go wrestle later that week. It's just
Not fun.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. 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 What you got, Dave?
It's difficult for me because there was a lot of times where I've done, for a good portion of my career, hardcore matches, death matches. So depending on what would be, a big one, it surprisingly it's the small ones. And I remember I was facing this guy, and he was a dear friend of mine, but he was just massive. He was 6'4", 500 plus pounds, almost 600 pounds. He was the beast, if you will. And the thing is, he's got that heart of gold, and has like 4 little chihuahuas. He's that cartoon character, if you will, but he played the big scary guy. And one of his finishers was just the straight STO, because you don't want, a guy that big just running at you and catching you into a running STO. He
No.
he caught me all right, and he landed right on top of me,
Mm.
and I felt from literally my tailbone to the base of my neck, every single spine, just like a bendy straw went, and that was probably the worst one I've ever taken. And
Off an
hell,
STO.
back in July,
That's
I
crazy.
jumped off of a stage through a mousetrap covered table and did a side effect off of a stage about 6-7 feet in the air. That was perfectly fine. I didn't feel shit. But just a simple little STO from the right person,
Now,
and that's what hurt
I,
the most.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's weird because sometimes the crazier the bump, the more adrenaline you have going into the bump, and the less you feel it. Um, so I've taken some crazy bumps, like I've been bealed off the top rope through a table on a cement floor. Um, I got straight backdropped on a cement floor, and that one stayed with me for a while. Um, I thought people don't bump on the floor, and I bump on the floor all the time, all
Yeah, I
the
was
time.
gonna say you seem to enjoy the
That's all he does.
floor.
It's literally all
Yeah.
he
Well,
does.
I
Don't do it
mean,
on cement, kids. I did a few
yeah,
of them. Yo.
I'm a cautionary telling what not to do in life.
Yo.
But yeah, I taken like I've always been sketched up with taking DVTs, just because I've had so many bad experiences with DVTs, people hooking me the wrong way and not giving me my chance to take my own bump. And I spiked myself, and my neck is jacked up for 3 days afterwards, and I can't turn my head. Yeah, so a DDT for me is probably the worst.
I gotcha.
I
Regular
know.
move to take.
I thought I thought I broke my tailbone, and my mother was a nurse for a lot of years. I had doing a hardcore match. I got the guy on a table, and of course, because we couldn't afford tables, we're using doors that we found at dumps. And this was just an old fashioned like French door kind of thing.
Ooh,
And they put it on 2 chairs, and I climb up the ladder. I'm about 10 feet up or so. The guy moves, and I do a leg drop, like I'm just going to senton through the table. These old French doors had those decorative, ornate door handles in the center of the door, and it was flipped upside down on the chairs because they're like, oh, it's not going to go through the door. He'll just break it, and it's no, it went through the door,
ooh,
and I couldn't sit right for a week,
you were
and that
violated by
was
a door.
terrible. You heard the crack, and then you just hear me go. It was like when Big Show got dropped down on the top turnbuckle, and then Roman Reigns starts laughing. That's literally what I sounded like. It is. I could see the guy that was wrestling, my buddy. He's sitting over there selling on the ground, and he's just chuckling. And I'm like, I hate you.
I remembered one more. Um, we were getting ready to do a last man standing match, and it was against me and my best friend and my current roommate. And I told him, I go, I want to be different, do something I've never seen before. So I glued a bunch of metal bottle caps to a DVD case, and I told him the spot was put it on my head, hit the DVD case, I'll roll over, I'll gig, do whatever. He misunderstood, and he full swing took and smacked it into my head, and just 3 rings just started gushing.
Mm. No need
And
to
I
gig at
was
that
like,
point.
"Yep,
Gig
that
the hard
hurt."
No
way.
need to gig. Well, listen, so I want to take this over to my favorite part of the 3 Count podcast, and it is the 3 Count podcast 10 count questions. And this is how it works. I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you guys. I want 3 different answers, or it could be the same answer. I don't really mind. But yeah, so the way I wanted the order to go is going to be Chris, Dave, Matt, but this is how it's going to go. So I'm going to put on an imaginary timer for added pressure. And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
For me, SmackDown.
Raw.
Bro,
Favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon? Oh my god, probably Family Guy for me.
Growing up, Rugrats.
Batman the animated series.
Oh,
Let's
you
go.
bastard.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel.
I have a story about that too, but Marvel.
Because of the Joker,
DC
DC.
villains. DC villains, Marvel heroes.
Yep, DC.
I got it. Favorite TV show?
I don't watch TV.
Simpsons.
Does wrestling count?
I mean, you can make it count. That works for me.
That's it, wrestling.
Coffee or tea?
I'll do T.
T.
Coffee.
Favorite movie?
The Shawshank Redemption.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
It is. It is the holiday
It's
season,
the
so that
season.
feels like
Boo.
it feels appropriate.
I'll go with the one for my character work, Devil's Rejects.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
great pick. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Can't say French toast. Damn. Um, Pancakes.
Waffles.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Yeah, let's go. Favorite podcast.
There's so many out there now. I want to say the Three Count podcast. I'm biased.
Drink out.
Sorry, Jim Cornette.
Dang, we were so close.
Dick.
We were so close.
He
I
kicked
gotta
out
be
at
different.
2.
You kicked out at 2. Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Ooh.
Ooh. You know what? Since I punched her in the head last show, get Jacqueline Sparks on here to cry a little bit.
I want to say Dez. I want to give him a push. I really like Dez.
Yeah, Des Marrero. Can't
Dez Marrero.
underscore enough desirable Des Marrero.
It's his rookie year, and this kid, I know
He's
he's
knocking out
going
the
to do
park.
something
You're gonna
great.
hear from him a lot.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with my arch nemesis in RICW, Chaz Marinelli, just so I can
Punched
make
him
fun
too,
of
by the
him.
way,
Bet.
twice.
Well, my last question to ask every single person that comes on this show: favorite curse word.
It comes as no surprise to anyone who knows me. Fuck.
Fuck. That was my second word I ever learned.
Fuck as well.
It's the
Yes.
greatest word. It's the
Every
greatest word
variation
ever.
too. Motherfucker, fucking bitch.
It's a verb, it's a noun, it's an adjective. It works in every single way.
Yeah, I was telling people, I was like, you guys, if you haven't seen the history of the F word, you guys need to. It's on YouTube. You can type it in. It's literally 2 minutes and 19 seconds long. It's one of the greatest videos like ever made.
Yes, sir.
Like it's awesome. Awesome. It was viral before viral was a thing. Like we'll put it that way. Listen, like those are all my questions and stuff. I love to have you guys on the show, but what I really need you guys to do is let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find y'all.
So right now, we're on hiatus until the next year. But you can find Dave, Matt, and myself at Rhode Island Championship Wrestling. We'll probably be running again in March of next year. Venue to be determined at that point. We do plan on making stops throughout New England. That's on a as it presents us. So it may not be right away. But this whole gimmick with what Original Sin, it's not just built for one show or one episode. It's multifaceted, and we have 3 members in the group. The other third member is not here tonight. Do we name him or do we not name him? Do we keep them guessing?
Let's keep them guessing.
Well, that's what I thought. But it's multifaceted. It's a multifaceted approach, and we literally will go into your show and be the best heels. That's my goal. Whenever we walk out the curtain, is to be the best version of what we can be.
Yeah, so we'll be all around New England, hopefully next year. Deadwood and I have already gone to a couple different states and a few companies over this previous year as a team, tag team, supporting each other, having fun with it. We've actually have already held tag team gold in a company inaugural tag team champions. By the way, that was a wonderful time, great event.
Lasted
And
all of what,
we do
10 minutes?
have pages on Facebook that you can reach out to. Mountain Man Matt Deadwood, I believe. Bioweapon Brutus Sane for me on Facebook. If anybody needs links to matches or resumes, please reach out. We'll be more than happy to provide them.
Yep.
And I post updates everywhere because I'm Matt Deadwood on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all over the place. Just Matt Deadwood.
Use social
The only
media
one I'm
for
not is Facebook, where it's the original gimmick, where I can't change it. Facebook won't let me. It's Mountain Man Matt.
Well,
I'm on Facebook as well as at the Unbalanced Messiah. Chris Dozer. I don't generally add to that page because I haven't been an active wrestler for a couple of years now. But I'll be adding more stuff from us to my page. And be on the lookout for our merch. We're going to have a shit ton of merch to sell. So come to the show because you never know what you're going to get. We've got tarot cards in order. I want to do challenge coins. I want to do pins and stickers and all that good shit. So we got shirts coming as well. So come to the shows. You might find something different. And we appreciate any support you give us.
Well, they gave you their handles. They told you where you can find them, and they told you about what's going to be going on in 2026. So what does that mean? Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home because this is the 3 Count Podcast, Possessed Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. But like every good Sherpa, it's never about me. It's about who's into the ring. So who's into the ring? You see the gentleman right here. You got Chris. You got Matt. You got Dave. You got the men of original sin. And you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you literally follow us on all of our social media platforms. You're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're checking us out on Spotify. You're even leaving us those 5-star reviews off the Eiffel Tower onto your iPhone or whatever device you're listening to your Apple Podcasts on. You're even checking us out on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever it is. You're checking out all of our merch on foryourwear.com. You're even checking out our merch on prowrestlingtees.com. You're telling your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your best friends, your cousins, your grandmas, your grandpas, and your enemies because we love haters too. You're doing all that stuff, and really, you're just kind of waiting for this episode to end, waiting for that outro, and then choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dog, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count Podcast. Whether that was Chaz Friends, Red Dog Friends, Damien Friends, The Film Slouch, Now Entering the Ring, Now Entering 201, or Now Returning to the Ring, all those good episodes, you should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3Count Pod, whether that's on IG, Twitch, you can check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3Count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify, all those fun things. Tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies, because we love haters too. Do all that stuff, and then, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii.